everyone. I wanted to give you a very quick introduction to teaching the math facts. And I'm kind of gonna just go to the beginning with a very minimalist curriculum. So let me show you. First resource I'm gonna show you is this Count With Me book. Okay, this book is really cheap on Amazon. I'll link it down below for you. It was literally a couple dollars. But what I really like about it is this feature. See, it's indented and they can feel it with their finger. And then it has one ball, right? And they like to have something interactive and one fat cat. And then two, So I like that they can feel this. And they have something interactive. It keeps them interested and engaged. So I've been using this, and they can count too. And then, which is great. So that's my goal for, preschool. They have a number line for you here, and you can see them all in order. And this is also traceable with their finger. I don't know if you can see that on camera. This is not flat. It's overlaid. So there is a level change here that they can feel with their finger. It even introduces some very early addition. 1 + 1 = 2. And then they put it visually for them. So I thought this was a really cool book. They can try adding. I think this is really great for preschool, maybe even kindergarten. This is a new find for me, so I wanted to share it with you. I'll link it for you down below. So this, combined with still for us, flashcards are super, super effective. Here are the cards for my memory game, which is free on my Pay Teacher store. And these kind of look more I picked a font that looks more like handwriting, this is what it looks like really when you write it. But then and this is the ones I started them on. But then I also purchased these off of Etsy. So when we get, sometimes if he doesn't know if he just sees the number 9, I'll give him the 9 card. Plus it lets them see a different font because they're going to see, things looking different in different books and things. So I like to start making the association. I do also have them match. Sometimes I'll put these up, and then I have them, match. You can do lots of things with flashcards, obviously. You also could use this number line because sometimes it seems like they learn to count faster than recognizing the figures, out of order. But you could say, which one does it match with, right? Does it match with 1? Nope. 2, 3. Yeah, it matches with the 9. This one actually looks pretty similar, right? This looks just like the font I use on my cards. A really good minimalist place to start your preschool math. Okay, so, and then of course, I just keep adding to this pile. As he masters more, I master more. We play memory, we match cards. We can do something in this, and then I'll show you. I love these dry erase envelopes. These ones, this particular brand erased better than other brands of envelopes I bought, so I'll link these down below. These are no prep games. There's number sense games, and again, these are probably just a couple dollars for. I remember I bought one that was 12, and then I wanted more that went farther with the number sense games. So I bought another set. So I don't know, I might have invested $10 in these games so far, but because I use them in here, I only have to print them once and I can reuse them over and over. This system makes them non-consumable and I can use them for other kids too. So this one you might just need to have dice. Yeah, this one you can roll the dice, say you rolled a 7, right? Then they have to identify the 7. Again, if they didn't know, you could refer them to your number line. You could just have this out with you guys while you're playing, right? And they said, we'll count to 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That, yes, across the sky and down from heaven. That's the way you make a 7. And then you find it on here, and then they just, right? And I'm not super strict about how he still wants to hold it like this, which sometimes for bigger things I let him, but I am trying to tell him to hold it with his fingers if he can. Try holding it with your fingers. Just tell him to give it a pinch, and then let it rest right there. Just say hold it. If they hold it like this, there's like intermediate kind of grasps that they do. That's fine. I don't know, my sister, one of my sisters, to this day, she writes like this. So I always had the writer's bump on my middle finger, and she had hers, was always on that finger. Isn't that funny? Anyways, her handwriting is just fine. She didn't hold her back in life. Okay, so yeah, so I like this because they can practice, you know, and they're also like getting good at counting and their dexterity. And then when you're done, I like these pens. I'll link these too because they have the little eraser on the back. These are 3 very affordable, very effective resources. Okay. All right, Bubba. What number is this one?
6.
6. Did you have a 6 on there already? Do you see a 6?
Yeah.
You already did it? Okay, just circle it.
Okay.
Now, what is this number?
5.
Okay. Did you already do the 5? Yep. Okay, go ahead and circle it. Good. What about, what's this number?
6.
Mm-hmm. Now you already circled it. Can you do 6 counting sticks? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 goes across. And then 6. Okay, 6 counting sticks.
1, 2, 3, 4.
5 goes across.
Cross.
And one more makes 6.
6.
Good boy. Okay, what is this number?
7.
7. Yeah, give it a circle. Good job. What is this number?
Oh, I'm winning.
You're totally winning. What is that number, son?
I don't know.
Oh, you don't know?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's use the number line. Is it this one?
No.
1. Is it 2?
No.
3?
3. No.
4? 5?
5.
6? 7? Is it 8?
No.
It's not 8?
It's like that.
Yeah, it's up here. See it?
Yeah.
It's an 8.
Yeah, it's that.
If you're not sure, let's count. How many dragonflies are there? Ready?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
8! It is an 8. Do you see it on there?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Go ahead.
I
Now,
like
don't, not in the middle. Start right here. And what do we say? I like to skate around the figure 8. Beautiful. Okay, so let's level up a little bit. You may have like a scope and sequence that you're following. So maybe maybe preschool, you want them to be able to count to 20, you know, and then you start working on counting to 20 and like being able to identify those numbers and like write those numbers, and you want them to be able to count out 20 things to you and stuff like that. You know, all these little skills you start building little by little, block by block. And then maybe in, you know, kindergarten, you want them to be able to count to, you know, 50. You just, once they make these little milestones, you just keep adding on. But when you're ready for math facts, I started here with our house, Karen Rodriguez's Robinson Curriculum Math Flashcard Guide. And I started with it, and it was really helpful, especially when you're just starting, you're like, I just need some sort of system. So she has the flashcards grouped, which was great. And when I started out, I just made these groups one at a time on index cards. And I just made I made all these little groups, and I just like paper clipped them together and set them aside. And I was just like, you know, adding to the pile that they were working through at some point. And then this is cool because it has, you know, you can see I was keeping track of 2 kids. You can keep track of up to 3 kids at a time, right? Anyway, so I would record what we did, like what day. So he did this pile and this pile. But so when I checked it, that means it was mastered. That means I quizzed him on it and I okayed him to move on. And, you know, sometimes you have to go kind of in deep and in detail in the beginning until you and your kids feel like you have like a handle on stuff. And then you kind of start doing your own thing. So at this point, you know, Everett had his mastered and he had moved on to Saxon 5-4. And so I was just going with William. I wanted him to have something on paper to do. So I made this, and this is in my TPT store. I want to say it's like $5 or something. This is free. I did the numbers and figures exercises. I want something to go along with the Ray's arithmetic lessons without buying like I just was really interested in the first like 10 lessons. I wanted him to have something to do, to write on, that I wouldn't have to like write a bunch in his notebook and stuff. So I created these sheets for him to count and then to trace. These are like traceables. So I wanted him to be able to read and write the word numbers and then, you know, what figures they went with. So we studied these a lot, all the way to 100. I think we were doing this in like first grade. How many arrows have we here? I used arrows instead of like manipulatives or something, just in case we didn't have anything. And then they could work it out. They had some place for scratch paper. This is what I made to go with my Robinson curriculum, you know, homeschool. And then lesson 10. Okay, so then you can give them a little certificate. I built those into them too. So here is my addition and subtraction workbook. I give some methodology here. I do recommend starting with Robin's flashcard guide. You're going to get going on the flashcard practice. And these were made to be used in conjunction with it. So I do put some conceptualization down, right? I do teach them how to use the abacus. I do the same for subtraction. So I did make these sheets to correspond with the flashcard work that my kids were doing. So this is a tracing sheet, right? I think it's just good just for them to see it, like just to see the fact and try to visualize it and memorize it. Here is the key. I put the key in here so that they can, because I don't mind if they study the key. I don't mind if they see the facts and the answers. That's good. They can study it, and then they can do the group, the fill-in practice. So now, what plus 4 equals 6? See if they can recall that fact that they've been dealing with their flashcards and their worksheets. And then here's their test for that group of facts here, right? And then, of course, they have the key, so they can check their own work if you want to train them to do that. So they take their test and they correct it. Whatever they got wrong, that's a good time to pull those facts out alone, because this is basically generating a wrong pile for them, right? And have those be the stack that they practice exclusively for a couple days to see if they can memorize them before. And then if they pass that, if you give them a quiz with those wrong pile cards, then you can mix them back in with the ones they had gotten correctly, and then, you know, go through the whole pile again, just to make sure they hadn't forgotten any. You just kind of have to do a lot of repetitive stuff. And a lot of times I'd have them go back. Let's say they had done this like in pencil, you know, 2 plus 4 equals 6, right? Well, you can have them go back and start this all over. Like, you don't even have to reprint it. Just like go back over now with a 2 plus 4 with a highlighter equals 6. Like, you can just keep going back over stuff. It's not going to hurt them to see this over and over, because that's what we're trying to get them to do, is just to deal with these facts over and over until they're memorized. So same with here, like just have them go back. Make sure they do it in pencil, so in case it's wrong, when they go to check it, they can erase it and rewrite it. You want them to see the right one, but I do require that they do everything in pencil the first time through. The only ones I would allow them to do would be in like highlighter would be stuff like this, where they're just going back over the top of something that I know is correct. And I do use highlighters because they don't show through so much. Okay, so I make sure whatever level this is mastered before they're allowed to move on to the next one. So these ones, it goes all the way through. I think I followed her plan for addition and subtraction facts. There'd be a certificate of mastery there, right? So you're wanting them to do it here, and you're wanting them to master it too with the flashcards. So you're doubling up. And then I have these in my bundle too. What makes 10 fact families? I think that this was really helpful. It was really important for me that they learned to quickly know which two numbers equal 10, like 3 and 7, 4 and 6, like they quickly know that. So I have little packet for that too. There's numbers here, they're traceable. I don't know if you can see it on camera. This is 0 plus 10, right? That's the bonded numbers. So they're just gonna go through, and then I wanted these to kind of look like they're cards, like they're flashcards. Anyways, they're seeing the fact families together. These are all bonded numbers. And then they go through, fill in the missing factor, right? But they can still see it here if they need to figure it out. And then now fill it in without, they can just go by color. They can look up, okay, this is the yellow one. Oh, sorry, this is the orange one, so 1 and 9, right? This is the red one, 0 and 10. This is the green one is 3 and 7. Fill in the missing factor here. Now the numbers have been removed. Now they have nothing to look at, right? We're hoping that it's in their mind. And then if they master it, then they can color this in as a reward. That was teaching the fact families, the 10 fact families, and I have bonded numbers, right? And their relationship to 10 groups. So this is showing how those bonded numbers that equal 10, like take you between the groups of 10, And the thing is with this is, again, I know I've said this point before, when you have printables, you can reprint them. If you go through something and it helps, right? It gets maybe the concept down, but it's not like memorized necessarily. You can reprint it and do it again. And you don't have to like be paying for stuff to buy new things. Sometimes kids just need more repetition, not necessarily like, you don't necessarily need a whole new curriculum or something. You know what I mean? I'm a really big proponent of using what you have. Like if you have it, use it. Use it again, use it again, use it again. I mean, it's the same idea with the flashcards. Oh, just because I looked at the flashcards through one time, they don't have them memorized. You're going to keep reusing the same flashcards, right? You're like, oh, no, these are not good flashcards. I'm going to go buy new flashcards. Anyways, so, yeah, I'm trying to show them in this how, like, if you had 63 and you added 7 to it, it's going to kick you up to the next 10 group, right, which is 70. Does that make sense? So solve using your knowledge of number bonds, right? And then they've got some subtraction in here too, right? And if they pass their test, right, again, they get to color, they can draw themselves on this cloud, right? And they're cute. They make cute little pictures. You can hang it up with their certificates. Anyways, I wanted to show you guys that stuff. That's probably this could take you through, all of first grade, right? And I do use those addition and subtraction. I have no prep games for that too. I'll link all this stuff down below because having the game, so after they do like their work with their worksheet page and like maybe some flashcard practice for 10 minutes or so, the games have served as like a really great reward system. So yeah, so first grade, a really simple, minimalist, effective would be flashcards, your addition and subtraction worksheets, and like bonded numbers, and like games, right? These really simple games. Okay, so let's say they've mastered their addition and subtraction facts. You're ready to move into multiplication and division. So I do start deviating from this. I didn't follow the multiplication and division. I started going by families, but I had my own order. I wanted to go in, I had something different. So again, I've got this. It's got a methodology in here. Make sure they understand 0 and 1 multiplication rules before you start. Introduce skip counting with worksheets, grouping, manipulatives, number lines, etc. So you can do a daily warm-up. The student writes the current table that they're working on and progressively adds on tables as mastered. Print as many as needed. I'll show you what that looks like. They can write them on there, or you can just write them in person, or you can write them just on paper or on the chalkboard. We did them on the chalkboard for a long time, but they can always check their work, right, with the filled out one. And a lot of times I just have this out so that when we're playing games and stuff, we can refer to it. Okay, so I start, with the 2s, so they can do their practice table here, count by 2s, write in the factors. I want them to color in the twos. They have a key to check. I want them to practice checking their own work because they're going to be checking their own work right when they get to Saxon. We've got tracing again, and then the multiplication test. I always have them count by twos. The fill in, and then here's the key, of course, so they can check their work. And then fives, right? So this works in a cumulative way where it gets up to, now it gets to twos and fives, right? They take a twos and fives test. So this is a really good stopping point when they get to their test, right? Whenever they get to a test, they take it, they, correct it if they get any wrong, right? Then they've got the wrong pile to practice that week until they think they've got it conquered. And then I also use these, the no prep games for multiplication and division. I have those as well. And I actually took them out, and you'll see it. These are ones we've already gone through, but I paper clipped them into the book. So when they got to, so it would go with the math facts that they were studying. So when they got to that point, they worked up to here. We had a new game to play, and we would just take it out and put it into here, if that makes sense. Okay, so let me show you an example. When they get to a cumulative test, this is a good time. So they take the test, right? They correct it. They think they know them all. I'm like, okay, perfect. Let's do an oral quiz. So you just give them, you use this, and you've got the key. If you need to refer to it, you can look at the key here. But you give them an oral test, and I just write, you can see how I did it. I just wrote a C for correct on everything that was correct. And then if it was wrong, I circled it. So he got 12 wrong out of 45. So not bad. But so now I know which facts he needs to study, right, after this. So, and he still has at this point, his addition and subtraction facts, right, that he's mastered, that he's reviewing those too, right? But sometimes, but we'll just set those aside after one of these tests, when he gets these facts wrong, and we just exclusively study these with the flashcards for a while. And then we start adding back in, reviewing the other facts too. Since it was an even 12, I took my highlighter and I highlighted and broke it into 3 sets of 4. So we're going to have him just focus on 4 at a time. They're two-sided. So if you have two-sided flashcards, it makes it more difficult sometimes to keep track of stuff if you don't have the single-sided ones. So when it comes to time like this, I don't want to mess with his organization in there. I will just make him some quick flashcards. We'll just make him the 6 times 3, right? And then I write it in pencil, usually on the back. Now I remember when Everett was doing this, he made his own because he was older. But just William, I want it to be very legible. And it won't hurt them to make their own. I'm sure that's a good activity too. So those are the 4 facts I'm going to give him today to focus on and see if he can get these 4 mastered. And then when those 4 are mastered, we will move on to the next 4, right? And we'll mix those in with this one, and then he'll study those ones, and we'll do the next 4, right? So we just keep building. And then when he has those mastered, I can just chuck these, or save them, or if you want to. But I just tend to throw them away because we have the other flashcards, and they're just going to be mixed in with all the facts anyways. So these are just temporary cards for this particular activity. Anyway, so we just keep going through. Every day he does, a page in here. He studies in here. He does whatever his cards are he's working on. He does those for 10 minutes. And then he does a game with me or his older brother. Yeah, we're just we're just chunking along, just little bit by little bit. And, when he feels that he has these mastered, he asks me to give him a quiz. If they're mastered, that's when we add in the next set. And we just don't let him go past. He can't move on in his workbook until he's mastered all those facts. And then, whenever you feel like it's time for a review session, like maybe you do that once a week on Sundays, or just to make sure they're still getting some review, or every 2 weeks, or whatever you think is appropriate. That is our math facts system. It's very minimal. There are times when we're doing more. Sometimes I do use my Ray's arithmetic stuff, but because it's going in a different, right now at this level, it's going in a different order than I want to go in, and it doesn't have enough activities or lessons to go with each math fact family for them to master it. I do have to have some. This is actually doing more for me right now than this. So this is better, I think, for memorizing math facts. This I do like for other reasons, like the reading component on it is like kind of an extra challenge. So usually, like right now, when he has mastered a math fact family, I will find the lessons in the Ray's workbook that are corresponding, and then we'll go through those because it's really not very many. It's like they were introducing the 5. So you can see they've got this lesson on 5s, and then this day, and then it just goes into review. So they really only have about 2 lessons. So I just add those lessons into this, really, my own resource, and that has been working well for us. Okay, well, if you have any questions, leave me a comment down below or anything you'd like to see in more detail, and I will respond to you as quick as I can. Thanks.